chosen one of the 7 nightmares God uses to communicate with you at night without your knowledge. You awaken and experience it without words. A peculiar quiet in your chamber, a sign that keeps bringing back a statement you don't recall hearing yet can't forget. And this is the fact that most people disregard. You're not dreaming by mistake, since heaven does not waste vision. God communicates when you close your eyes, allowing your soul to open. You have seen water, serpents, and doorways that do not exist in the actual world, yet you recall them clearly. That is not your imagination. It's a spiritual briefing, an encrypted communication for those destined to see beyond the veil, while others sift through their dreams like noise. You've been chosen to interpret divine patterns, and your continued interest is more than simply curiosity. It's confirmation. You are following heavenly instructions. You know it's not rest, it's activation. Tonight, we'll look at 7 dreams that God uses to communicate with you without your conscious mind understanding it. And at the conclusion of this film, you'll have a new perspective on sleep. But listen carefully. Every second you spend watching this video contributes to the overall message. In this one moment, you may overlook a code intended only for your next breakthrough. So, if you're ready to wake up, even in your dreams, click the like button right now. If your soul has been moved, subscribe and leave a comment with the number 99, since some 99 declare the Lord rules and the nations quake. When he talks in your sleep, the darkness must tremble. Let we begin. The chosen one. If you've just had a dream about water, don't only recall how it was interpreted. Water is more than just a spiritual element. It is a language. And when heaven talks via water, it is never at the surface level. Perhaps you were drowning, trying to breathe, being dragged beneath by invisible forces. That is not fear. That is a revelation. You are getting consumed by emotions. You have not admitted your hurts, which have been buried too deeply to heal. It's an indication that you're losing the war of quiet, and God is desperately calling you back to the beach. Perhaps your dream was silent. Still waters, clear, tranquil, and peaceful. That is not rest. That is alignment. That's the Spirit verifying your alignment with His will. Even if everything around you appears unsure, you're not in risk. You're going through a transition. God is breaking loose the old buildings inside you. He isn't attempting to ruin you. He's attempting to purify you, since water doesn't just mirror you. It reveals you. It reveals where you're opposing His movement and where He is about to baptize you into something bigger. And here's the twist that many folks overlook. The way you react to water in your dream mirrors how you react to the divine in real life. Do you flee from it, attempt to control it, or let it take you? Because the dream is more than simply a symbol. This is a question, and God is waiting for your response. So, the next time you see water in your dreams, don't inquire, what exactly does this mean? Ask instead, Lord, where are you trying to take me? That my dread won't let me go. Now, let's go even deeper. Because if water exposes your soul, the following dream will show what is lying in the shadows surrounding you. Keep an eye on the chosen one. When a snake appears in your dreams, it does not mean you are being haunted. You are being alerted. This is not some random nightmare. It is a coded message from the spiritual world. Because a snake does not talk, it sends a signal. And when it occurs, you're being cautioned of something your spirit already knows. But your mind refuses to confront. If you've been bitten in a dream, the venom isn't physical. It's emotional poison, jealousy, gossip, treachery, poured into you by someone smiling in your face while hoping for your fall and the location of bite. It matters. A bite on your hand. Your call is under assault. A bite on the foot. They are attempting to reroute your course. What if you don't see the snake? What if it was concealed under your bed or in the grass behind a loved one? That is not fear. That is spiritual surveillance. You are being monitored by a disguised menace. Someone you trust might be the very entryway the adversary is exploiting to come closer. What if you killed the serpent in your dream? Don't overlook that opportunity. That is victory in the unseen. A quiet delivery. A war won while your body was resting, but your spirit was armored. God sends these snake nightmares not to terrify you, but to refine you and activate your discernment radar. So you stop believing every good word and begin examining each spirit. Because this is the truth. Nobody wants to say, some smiles contain poison. Some prayers serve as disguised curses. And it's only in your dreams that the mask ultimately comes off. So next time a snake emerges, don't panic. Do not run. Ask frankly, Lord, who in my life is near enough to bite yet quiet enough to fool? Now get ready, because if the snake discloses who is hidden, the following dream reveals you what God is revealing. Stay right here. The chosen one. When a door appears in your dream, you're not just going through wooden hinges. You've reached a spiritual threshold. Heaven is showing you something the natural world cannot. Your life is about to change. And if the door opens, closes, cracks, or disappears, each detail is a code, revealing the timing and course of your call. If the door is open, don't rejoice too soon. It's more than simply access. This is a test, because the version of you that barely made it through last year prayed for what you're about to embark on. An open door signifies your next season is available, but your obedience is essential. If the door is locked, don't complain about the delay. God may be safeguarding something you are not prepared to carry. A locked door does not indicate rejection, but rather preservation. And sometimes heaven's quiet is louder than everything. Yes, but what if the door is broken? Pay attention. Something has tried to push its way inside. This dream represents a security breach in the spirit. It indicates that an attacker has identified your access point and is attempting to undermine your next move before you make it. God uses door nightmares to reset your discernment. Not all open spaces are magnificent. Not all closures are punishment. And not every corridor is designed for your feet. However, this is where things get more complicated. If you're just standing in front of a mystery door, unwilling to move and unsure of what's behind it, it could not be about the door at all. Behind the wood, ask yourself whether you have the faith to go through what you prayed God to bring. Now listen closely, because the following dream does not involve items or locations. It is about something alive, and what it contains might reveal your entire spiritual blueprint. Stay with me. The chosen one. When a baby comes in your dream, it does not represent innocence. It's about taking responsibility. You're not being shown a child. You're being shown a seed, a divine deposit. Something frail, but sacred. Something modest, yet has the potential to change entire nations. A baby in your arms indicates that God has entrusted you with something important. A vision and a purpose. A spiritual task planned before you were ever born. However, just because you have it in your hands does not guarantee its safety. You must continue to feed it while protected. Fight for it today. If you hear a baby sobbing in your dream, do not dismiss it. That is not noise. That is your calling, begging for attention. You put off doing anything for far too long. Put off obeying. You doubted your own abilities. But heaven has finished waiting. The most critical situation is when you come upon an abandoned infant. It suggests you've walked away from something everlasting, a spiritual pregnancy that has gone ignored, much like a newborn. If you don't nourish it, it won't live. This isn't about motherhood or fatherhood. This is about legacy. You have been carrying something in your spirit. Perhaps you lack the necessary linguistic skills. Perhaps no one sees it, but you're aware it's there. A pressure, a stirring, a wonderful weight. You cannot explain. And here's something most people don't realize. The opponent is not terrified of who you are today. He's scared of anything you're holding. That is why the conflict escalated. That is why your sleep has altered. Because something inside you is going to emerge. So, the next time you have a baby-related dream, do not inquire. What's this? Ask instead, God, how do I raise what you've just created in me? And now we enter the area where the curtain becomes thinner. Where the past attempts to communicate. Not every presence arrives in peace. Continue to watch. The chosen one. Some dreams whisper, and they're dreams that penetrate. When a deceased person pays you a nighttime visit, you're not just remembering. You have been called to a place where the living and the eternal temporarily meet. This is not simply nostalgia. Grief does not always resurface. Sometimes God speaks via memory. using the picture of someone you know to bypass your rationality and reach the part of your soul that still listens when you're most vulnerable. Perhaps the individual spoke to you. Perhaps they just gazed at you with meaning. Or perhaps they said nothing, but you awoke weeping. That is not feeling. That is a message. God may be offering you closure, healing an unprocessed wound, or he's conveying a prophetic message that your conscious mind would have ignored in the daylight. These dreams can also serve as ancestral awakenings, reminding us that a generational conflict has come to an end. But understand this, not every presence is heavenly. The opponent is a master of disguise. Some dreams are forgeries, imitations meant to divert, deceive, or detour. And how do you tell the difference? It is not in what has been said. It is in what is behind. If the dream ends peacefully, conviction or clarity have not affected you. If it causes confusion, dread, or obsession, it was intended to distort. This is why discernment is your best defense. Because when the dead appear, you must inquire with spiritual authority rather than emotion. Lord, is this from you? Or was it a shadow dressed as a memory? Because selected ones are more than simply dreamers. We are gatekeepers, and not all spirits are entitled to access. And now we have moved from the invisible to the unavoidable. The following dream does not bring up memories from the past. It takes you out of the current moment and tests your ability to distinguish between reality and illusion. Brace yourself, the chosen one. There are certain types of dreams that do not have symbols. It arrives with force. A quick plunge, shock that wakes you up. Your heart is beating and your soul is unsettled. You're plummeting. However, this is not just anxiousness. It is not your mind that is whirling. Your spirit is being disrupted. Because when God enables you to fall in a dream, He is not attempting to punish you. He is attempting to reposition you. Perhaps you're losing control of something you weren't supposed to handle alone. A relationship, a title, or a function that you have outgrown. Instead of letting go, you've been clinging to a version of reality. He has already called you out. Perhaps you're clinging to pride, illusions of security, and platforms constructed on fear rather than faith in the fall. Is God's kindness, taking away everything fake before it crumbles, leaving you on top. And yet, He occasionally allows you to tumble close to the ground just to demonstrate that He can still catch you. That what seemed like failure was actually formation. A heavenly reset designed not to break you, but to rebuild you on the truth. Because this is the part that few people comprehend. Falling in a dream does not necessarily indicate danger. It might imply that you're finally being removed from what was never you. Ego, pride, and control. He is ripping it down. So the question is not, why am I falling? So what have I built? Is my identity on? God is trembling because the fall is not the end. It's the beginning of something stable. And when you awaken, breathless, disoriented, and scared, the whisper from above becomes obvious. When everything crashes, I will remain your foundation. But what happens once the fall is over? Nonetheless, you have the impression that someone's keeping an eye on you, even if nothing is there. Get ready, because the last dream does not move your body. It penetrates your atmosphere. The chosen one. This dream does not involve monsters. No fire, no collapse, and no mayhem. Just the sense that you're being observed, nor by a person, nor by anything you can name, but by an invisible yet undeniable presence. You look about throughout your dream. Nothing, but the air is thick. You feel judged, measured and known, and not by chance. This isn't paranoia. This is spiritual consciousness. You've passed a boundary, and now you're on the radar of worlds you had no idea were watching you. Because when you've been marked by destiny, both heaven and hell pay attention. Angels watch your progress, while devils study your weaknesses. The environment becomes aware of your existence, and the dream is a confirmation. You're no longer invisible to the unseen. But here's what most people overlook. You're not being monitored because you are vulnerable. You are being monitored because you are dangerous. Your anointing is increasing. Your authority is increasing, and the spirit realm is watching your every step because your next action might trigger a generational upheaval.